Okay, guys. Hello. This is KJ with Rigged Reality Radio. Everybody, welcome back once again to Rigged Reality Radio, your alternative to the alternative media. Tonight we're going to do something a little different. I'm pretty excited about this, man. I've been psyched about this one for a while, and we're going to do kind of our Halloween show, if you will, tonight. Now, of course, if you're familiar with the kind of things we cover on the radio show and even my channel in general and all the kind of bizarre things we get into deciphering this strange reality of ours, it's interesting because in a way we're kind of taking a step back tonight from some of that madness. And by the way, actually, somebody's on the line with me. Hey, whoever that is, I hear a lot of feedback in the back. I don't know, maybe you can turn your radio down a little bit or your computer.
Hello?
Hey, how you doing, man? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Yeah. I hear you pretty good.
Okay, cool. I had a little feedback there. Anyway, I'm just talking to the audience here real quick. Just want to say it's going to be kind of a crazy format tonight. We got 2 hours. I'm not going to take a break in the middle because I want to take as many calls as I can. Please understand that with each call, I'm going to take my time, and it's all about the story tonight, guys. That's what we're trying to do here. The whole idea of kind of covering spooky stories and all that. This isn't summoning demons or worshiping the devil. It's nothing at all like that. If you look at any culture, any place around the world, any different country, you're going to find these stories. There's ghosts, there's monsters, there's this, there's that. Here in America, we have a lot of those, like in most neighborhoods, there's that one house that something evil's going on in, and it just kind of builds its own mythos after time. I've got one in my old hometown. There's also Crybaby Bridge. There's always a Crybaby Bridge. So point is, we're going to go into that. Tonight's 2 hours open, and it's for you. I want to talk to you guys and gals. I already gave the number out earlier, and we got a chat room rolling, which is cool. So we're going to talk. Don't be disheartened if you're calling in and I'm not talking to you. Hopefully you have a chance to listen to the show live. I'll be with somebody at the time, and as soon as I finish one call, I'll be jumping into the next as quick as I can. And like I said, we're going to take our time. And without further ado, I don't want to just keep rambling on here. I want to get to my people, but I got to call on the line right now. Who am I talking to, man? Who's this with me?
Hey, how you doing, man? This is Dietrich. I'm calling from Shreveport, Louisiana.
Hey, it's really nice to hear from you, man. Thanks a lot for calling in. So you got a scary story for us?
Oh, yeah, man, I got two stories for you. I got two stories.
Okay, go ahead.
And both of these stories happened in my grandma's house. Well, first of all, I want to point out in my grandma's house, a lot of things happen. A lot of negative things happen in my grandma's house. So I want to point that out while I'm explaining it. But
that's okay, and that probably obviously brought some really negative energy there, right? I imagine.
Oh yeah. Really negative energy. Really negative. Really negative.
Go ahead.
The story though, I want to tell you it's about the time I saw the demon. The story about the time I saw the demon, and basically I went in my room to lay down just for a second, but I didn't close the door all the way. I just cracked the door just a little bit to have a little light come in the room. So I went in my room and laid down for like 5 minutes. So soon as I got up, well, I didn't raise all the way up, but I just opened my eyes up. And then someone told me, look at the door. So soon as I looked at the door, I saw a demon looking out the door. But the thing was, the demon didn't go into the light. It just stayed inside the darkness because my room, it was pitch dark. And
what did it look like? What did it look like to you?
Well, the demon, what it was, like, it had horse feet, and it had like two stubs on top of his head, like for horn, like two stubs, like, you know what I'm talking about? Like two stubs on his head.
Yeah.
And basically it was just standing like at the door. And the thing is, the demon wasn't bothering me. It was just looking out the door. And what the demon was looking at was in my niece and my aunt room. Their room was like right next to each other. So the demon was looking back and forth at their door. So I was just sitting there watching the demon. I was thinking, should I move? I was thinking, should I move? So I just moved just an inch. And as soon as I moved, the demon turned around. I mean, like you've seen in the movie, like how some move like real fast. I mean, the demon turned around so quick, and then it ran towards me and dispersed. Like it dispersed into darkness.
How big was it? Was it like tall or?
I would say, if I had to guess, maybe 6, close to 7 feet. If I had to guess, close around my ear. Different around my ear. The thing was though, I wasn't scared though. Of course, I wasn't scared. Though. I wasn't scared because that wasn't the first thing I've seen before. But it just that thing was the one I've seen very clear for the first time.
And I'm guessing you're probably spiritually protected, right? So you weren't really scared of this thing. Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
and
that's
that's the key. Yeah, that's it. I've seen some stuff as well. I've got some videos on that stuff. But yeah, man, I think as long as we're protected, we're good. But what else you seen there at Grandma's house?
Oh, what if I see? I'm gonna tell you this story right here. Now this one right here. Well, now I can laugh at it, but back then it wasn't funny. But now it is. But one day I'll come home from school and everybody was sitting in the living room, and we bought this workout pole from Walmart, and this pole hook up to the wall, and on this pole we wrap duct tape around the pole so that we can have some grip. So when we do the lift, so we won't fall or slip or something, hit our head or something.
Yeah.
So we put the duct tape on there. So I say about 5 minutes when I walked in the house, me and my grandma, everybody in the living room, like just sitting there. Then all of a sudden, the pole just set on fire out of nowhere. Like
Whoa.
I don't know where the pole just set on.
Wow, it just set on fire?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the pole just set on fire. I mean, like literally, like it just set on fire by itself out of nowhere. Just set on fire.
What do you think all this stuff, what do you think started the portal for this energy to be in your house and for this stuff to enter? Do you know?
Oh yeah, I definitely know. It's like so much stuff going on in my grandma's house. I mean, when I say so much stuff, I mean, when I say there's barely anything positive that goes on in my grandma's house, I mean, like, so much negative stuff. Like, let's just say if you was to come stay in my grandma's house, you would probably think we are crazy. You probably think we are crazy. That's how much so much stuff go on. Like, and then not just in our house, around the neighborhood. Like, my grandma stayed in a bad neighborhood, and plus her house adding on to the negativity and the people who stayed there. So yeah.
Yeah, that's tough, man. Yeah, you're right. You got it figured out. Those areas do literally, I believe, create spiritual portals for that stuff to come in. But I'm glad it sounds like you got your head together and you're safe. And, I'm sure your grandma's probably a good lady as well. So, that's good. Just pray about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, hey, man, I appreciate your call. I need to jump. I'm getting, blown up over here. But I do appreciate you letting us hear about your stories, man. That's good stuff. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. Take care, man.
All
Thank
right.
you. Hey, how's it going? I think I got somebody on the line right now. Is somebody on the line here with me?
Yes.
Yes. Hi, how are you? What's your name?
My name is Rebecca.
Hi, Rebecca. How you doing? So you got a scary story for us?
Yeah, I mean, it scared me anyway. I was about 6, so I hope that still qualifies that it was so long ago.
Oh, absolutely. It's a couple of years ago, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
That's all right. No, go for it.
So basically, in my childhood home, I'd be walking down the hallway, and something would draw me to my parents' room, and I would lose all function. I would levitate, and it would take me to this certain part of the wall every single time, and it was this image. It wasn't three-dimensional. It was on the wall. It was just a black image, and it would just stare at me, and I would stare at it, and then I would just I would snap out of it and run to my mom.
Wow, that's heavy. And you know what? That's not crazy. I mean, there's a lot of times that, people, especially when we're young, I think we have these experiences. I had one when I was real little too, probably about that age. I was in my mom and dad's room. I was laying on the bed between them, and I know it's really weird, I had this old Ronald McDonald doll, but I was laying between them. I wasn't dreaming or anything, and it was sitting up on the, like a dresser drawer thing over there, kind of sitting up on a corner. And it just started talking to me. It started talking to me, and it was telling me that my toys were all alive and that they're watching me and things like that. It sounds really weird, I know. And, it's cuckoo type stuff, but, man, I believe that children can see things like that. You know what I'm saying? So thank you for sharing it. Anything else on that?
Well, that wasn't the only thing that happened at the time. My mother and my sister saw things, too. My mom would hear noises in our vent, and she'd be like, "Can you hear that?" And we would get up to the very vent, and she'd be like, "If you can't hear that, you have to get that close. Like, what's going on here?" And then one night, my mom said that my dad was a police officer and he worked nights. So she heard him come in the front door, the hallway light turned on, and she thought it was my dad. But she like woke up and there was this image like staring at her, and she was like, "Honey, is that you?" And the thing just looked at her, and she said, "In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, be gone," and it dropped to the floor.
Good. Yeah, that'll get rid of them quick. Wow. Well, what do you think? I believe these are portals that open up and these things come in. What's the history in the house? Was there anything that you can think of that may have allowed this stuff in?
Well, I heard at the time because my parents had people come and pray in our house. They said that they had heard stories of a certain coven of witches that were praying against police officers' families. That's
wow,
what they said.
That's real stuff there. That's really heavy. I don't know if you're familiar with the stuff I do on the channel, but I've been doing a lot of stuff about these satanic networks and stuff out there, and that's stuff I actually read. That's real deal stuff. They really do. They're connected like that, and they do go after, although a lot of, police officers and people in kind of official positions are also kind of a part of things as well. You're not saying your father is, but there's a lot of that too, But, wow.
Understand.
But no, that's some scary stuff. I guess that stuff is filtered out over the years, or is there still an energy or a feeling there around the house?
No, it for sure isn't. I live in the same state as you, and I think I agree with you. I watched your video the other day that something's happening here, but
No
I think
way.
something always has. Yeah.
You live here in Oklahoma?
Yeah.
No way. Yeah, I'm back here. I'm still back here for a while. I didn't want to even do that video just because, I like to kind of stay on the low a little bit, but I came back a while back.
I understand.
My father was a little sick, so he's doing better now, but I really came back to help him and help the family business for a while. But, I'm still here, and it's been crazy just with all the stuff, and I know you saw that video, but yeah, it's insane what's happening here in our home state. Either way, Rebecca, I'm going to move on, but I do appreciate you calling. It's nice talking to you. Go ahead.
Thank you. Take care.
All right. Take care. Thanks. Hey, I think I got somebody else on the line here. Is somebody here waiting for me?
Hey, KJ. My name's Anthony. I'm from Illinois. God bless you, man. How are you?
Hey, Anthony. Thanks, man. Great to hear from you. That's my dad's home state is Illinois. And, wow, he talks a lot about how, I focus on how Oklahoma is becoming darker. But, wow, a lot of things happening in Chicago specifically. How you doing out there?
Oh, could be better. I'm a native of this state too, but really can't stand it. Cannot wait to escape. Looking at Costa Rica, or actually Oklahoma as a bug out location. So
really, no way, man. Hey.
Yeah, I do. I've got some really good friends out there. It's hopefully could be a sanctuary if things do go further south, and it's readily apparent. But very interesting, and a lot of synchronicities in my view with me, with you. Probably don't have time to go into everything, but a really interesting story that you might find.
Go for it, man.
Well,
no rush either.
I emailed you right before your Yahoo account was hacked, and in that email, I put my information. I put my phone number. I was hoping to just have a quick discussion with you at some point, but
sorry I missed that,
story,
man.
No problem. But it kind of gave me a little bit of the creeps too, because it was like right after, and I thought how bizarre. So whoever did that now has my information. You know what I mean?
I know.
But on that note, real quick too, you do mention, even with the last caller, that you like to sort of stay on the down low, so to speak. Is that because you feel because of your exposure to this information that you are actually in danger, that your life is in danger?
Wow. See, I don't go there with it. Here's what I do is that it's what I'm more kind of concerned about sometimes are just fanatical people from YouTube or wherever that find my information and get in touch with me. Because even before my email got hacked, I was getting these really weird emails from a couple different people that were showing information they've been trying to find on the different places I've lived, and I've lived in like 9 states, and I've done a lot of different jobs. So they had really found some things, which is really weird. Not a lot, but just a little bit. And I'm like, people are really looking, and it's creepy. But my background, man, is in law enforcement for the military. I was a bounty hunter for a while. I've been a private detective in the past. I have weapons. I'm a big guy, and I will knock somebody out. So I don't worry too much about stuff like that. But I worry about that. I also worry about my family a little bit. I don't want them to be involved because my channel's growing. You know, I never thought it'd be this big. It's great, but I plan on sticking with it. I'm going to keep doing what I do. And as you become more out there and the more I put things out, I'm definitely a target, man. You know, I guess in a lot of respects. Mine's more spiritual. I can discuss that on another show, but I mean, I have like a lot of weird spiritual attacks in my life is what it is. And I did a video on the narcissists a while back, and I did that because I had a personal experience with one in Oklahoma, and I had never experienced wickedness on that level in a human being. I know that sounds kind of heavy, but so and to me that was a spiritual attack. But enough about me, man. What about you, dude? I'm sorry, go ahead. Do you have a story for us or what?
Yeah, well, I feel kind of a kindred spirit with you too, because I'm a veteran. I was in the Air Force. I actually have been considering obtaining my private detective license up here, but I've sort of been putting it off in case I do move in the near future.
Yeah,
but
that's good to consider.
But, it's a good segue because when you talk about the spiritual attack, that's actually one of the things that I wanted to discuss with you. I'm a real estate broker by trade now, and I have foreclosed properties that I deal with. So very recently I received a random text from someone looking to view a property, which is odd in and of itself because I'm usually not contacted by the public via text. You know, usually it's other broker in and of itself was strange, but I didn't think anything of it. I engaged this person through text, and a few texts in, it got very creepy. You know, they asked me to come and meet them and show them this house. And then from there, this person starts asking, well, is it all right if we hold hands, you know, while you show me the property? And there's a bowling alley across the street called Eden Lanes. And this person is like, let's get together at Eden Lanes across the street for some drinks, you know, prior, and just really unorthodox, you know, sort of communication.
They wanted to hold hands with you, or?
Yes.
Whoa,
yeah,
creeper!
Said, you know, can we hold hands, you know, during the showing? And I maintain a level of professionalism throughout too, but it just got progressively more strange and kind of intrusive. So suffice to say, I just agreed to it, you know, tongue in cheek, like, sure, yeah, I'll see you there, you know, in a couple of days. And I wound up not going. And then a few days thereafter, I got another text from this same number saying, where were you? You know, why didn't you show up? And I said, look, I just thought it was a prank. And then this person says, sure, I understand that. I get pranks all the time. I'm a clown by trade. So, you know,
okay.
I didn't think anything of that prior to like some of the Groxt videos and stuff as of recent. I thought, wow, that's really strange. I didn't realize that there was such a parallel between these things and clowns. So just unusual, definitely. And it gets further than that because about a week after, if I can, real quick, that same property was inhabited by some squatters, which I had to have removed. And upon going through the house, they weren't there. I started to look through some of the effects that they had left there. And there was a YouTube channel, like Kill a Bloodline Films, and just really unusual stuff on that channel, like having kids shoot real firearms and stuff like in the city, and a lot of simulated rape and murder and that sort of thing. Wow, it's really strange. So, you know, I've been on kind of a heightened alert there since spiritually, and I just was wondering if you had ever experienced anything similar to that, anything that you thought was sort of an overt threat or just menacing, if nothing else.
Oh, I see. No, not really, man. Like I you know, genuinely for me, I feel very protected with God and you know, with Jesus, and I don't preach a lot and all that because I've come from a very conservative religious kind of background, and so it's hard enough for me to kind of talk about it as I do. But the relationship I have there is so deep, it's hard for me to put into words, and it's so real, and the things I see manifest are so interesting that I know what's happening is real. I'm just going to keep doing what I do. I know that I'm protected. I know that if it comes to a physical thing, which I don't think it ever will, but I mean, I'll do whatever I got to do. But I'm a gypsy, and my life has been probably just as bizarre as my videos. I haven't even talked about all that stuff. So I know that I'm doing what I got to do, and I'm protected. I ain't worried about it. But like what you're saying, man, as I say on my videos, this evil is manifesting not just in one way or another, or Illuminati symbols or whatever. It's manifesting in everything, man. I see it in people all the time. I feel like it's I feel like I can almost see the wheat and the tares or something. It's very strange. I don't know, man, but I think it's just on the rise. But we have peace. We have peace, and we have to keep ourselves around good people with good energy and good vibrations, and hopefully connect with the Father. And you know what I'm saying? So, either way, man.
Yeah, that's a great start.
Well, man, hey, I appreciate you calling. Good luck, too, on what you're looking at between you and I, and, of course, all the listeners. I'm looking at Costa Rica within a year myself, so maybe I'll see you down there, okay?
That'd be great. Yeah, I actually have already some friends down there. My girlfriend and I are looking to do that within the same time frame, maybe a year or two, ideally.
Well, man, try to PM me again on YouTube. We'll have to talk, okay?
Totally will. Thanks for having me, KJ. I appreciate it.
Take care, man. See you later. All right, so I think I got somebody else on the line here waiting. Is somebody here waiting for me?
Yeah, actually there is. How you doing? Good to talk to you, my friend.
Hey, I'm good. I'm really sorry that it took a little bit of time there. So thank you for waiting. What's going on, man? Who am I talking to?
My name is Illo, actually. And I'm a long-time watcher for your channel, man. I think you do great work. You got great videos.
Thank you, sir.
This is my first time ever calling into anything like this, so forgive me. I saw the number, and I was like, you know what, I have to take an opportunity to see if I can actually connect with you, because I've actually tried to send you personal message on YouTube, too. You know what I mean? You've responded to a couple of my comments here and there, and because, like you, I have a very religious faith. I'm very spiritual, very close with Jesus. And I comment a lot around that. And you shared a lot of the same feelings that I have, you know what I mean? So, but anyway,
well, thanks, man. That's good to hear. We got that connection, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Brothers in Christ. That's how I look at it. Brothers and sisters in Christ all around the world need to stand together and unify.
Absolutely.
You had mentioned that you were looking for interesting stories, spiritual or otherwise.
Absolutely.
And, I figured I would share a couple of negative and a couple of really positive. You know what I mean? Hopefully,
sounds good.
When it comes to like the otherworldly spiritual ghost stuff, I've had one experience where I'd like to get your thoughts and see if anybody else out there has maybe had something similar to this happen. But I was at my mom's house. I spent the night at my mother's house, and I always felt like her place had very dark, negative energy over it. And I could never really explain it, but I feel like the place hated me. That's the best way to sum it up. And one day it was early in the morning, and I was on her couch, and I heard footsteps coming down the stairs. I thought it was my mom, and when I went to go say hi to her, it's like my voice froze and my whole body froze. I got tunnel vision, and I felt what felt like handprints on my side, kind of leaning on top of me, and then it just in a whispering tone kept saying the word "you" over and over again. You. And the more it went on,
oh man,
yeah, it was crazy. The more it went on, the less and less I could see, until the point where it was just like pinhole vision, and I couldn't move at all. None of my muscles would work, and it just kept going and going. It was just this really uncomfortable feeling. And all of a sudden, it stopped. And as soon as it stopped and the word stopped, my vision came back. I could move. I jumped up. I wanted to see if it was a joke, if someone was playing a joke on me. It was the craziest thing. I got to tell you, when my mom sold that place, I did a little happy dance on the inside. I never had to go back there again. I was actually living in that place at one point, and I slept in the basement. And this was before I started my walk with Jesus. You ever feel like you've encountered the devil? Like you're looking at the devil himself?
Hey, man, I have absolutely, I feel like I've looked right into the eyes of, I just call it the beast system. It's that hive mind of wickedness, and I know I've seen it up front, and it sent shivers down my spine. Yeah.
I mean, some people refer to them as the shadow people. I don't know what it was, but I felt like I was staring into the eyes of the devil. It was a figure that looked like it was wearing one English raincoat, but completely black, with like a hat and just these eyes staring at me like that. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I don't know how to sum it up other than I was staring at it, and it was the most uncomfortable feeling. I don't know what made me do it, but I just called out to Jesus, and as soon as I did that, the thing went away.
Man, see, that's what somebody else earlier said, and that's really what it's all about. And I'll tell you right now, I've been talking to a group of people that they're Christian. They're not really so much a part of a religion or anything, but what they do is they help abductees. They help people who've been abducted, and that's what they say. And I'm trying to make sure they're legit. That noise in the background, that's okay. That's cool. I was afraid that might be the thing coming back at us. Hi there. Hi. That's right. Oh, that's okay, man. They don't want us talking about this, it sounds like. No, that's okay. It's a little loud. It's all right, though, man. Hey, but I probably better... But go ahead, actually. Don't let me cut in. Let me go ahead and let you, because you got your hands full. You got anything else you wanted to add real quick?
I just wanted to. I want to finish this off with a very positive story and just the healing power of Jesus Christ. I had this very bad medical thing going on. Like, I can go into these days. I basically had my whole inner ear and my mastoid bone rotted away in the inside of my head. I didn't know what was going on.
Wow.
I was bleeding out of my head for 5 years. Nobody could ever figure it out. And until we went to this one. I mean, I had everybody tell me it was everything from indigestion, which figured out why I'd be bleeding out of my ear for 5 years with indigestion. But anyway, the whole mastoid bone worn away. There was a hole from my ear canal into my brain, and my brain started to grow out of that hole.
Wow, man. I am sorry. Wow.
You know what? This leads to a very good thing. So, for my brother, at any moment I could have died. It was horrible. If the infection had touched my brain, I would have been dead. That's what the doctor told me. I had a very big surgery. It was a 20-hour surgery that was planned with neurosurgeons, doctors. They were going to take a piece of my hip, graft it to my skull, create a new plate, all this stuff. My brother took me to see a pastor. His name is Father Tom DiLorenzo. And, well, he's not a pastor, he's a father, but Tom DiLorenzo at a church local to my area. And we went in. I didn't know what to expect at this time. I wasn't, like I said, as spiritual as I am now. My walk with life wasn't as deep as it is now. So he puts his hand on my ear and we pray. And he's like, he's praying and he says to me, "Do you feel anything?" I said, "No, not really." And I didn't know what to expect, but I didn't know what was going on. So he started doing it again. And as he's praying again, I felt like this warmth in my ear. I thought, "Oh, that's right." I told him, I feel warmth in my ear. I went for the surgery. That was on Sunday. I went for the surgery on Wednesday. And when they cut open my head, the doctors looked at each other like, "What is this, some kind of joke?" My mastoid bone grew back.
Wow.
Jesus replaced my mastoid bone. I have MRIs, and I'll send you an email if you want, that shows you the MRI, everything, explaining the whole thing. It regrew. Jesus regrew my mastoid bone in my head. Praise God. I mean, it's just an amazing, amazing thing.
Well, I'm loving that you told us that, not only for the obvious, but also there's another kind of area we touched there, and I'm glad you went there, because this was from a priest that helped you with this, and God obviously worked with the priest. And a lot of the videos I do and things I do kind of attack religion itself, organized religion, but there is that distinction. I believe I've made it clear in the past. I want to make it clear again. There are still very godly people working in all these different religions and whatnot. I lived in Maui, Hawaii, and one of my friends was Mormon out there, and his mother was a Mormon. And this woman was the closest thing to just an angel I probably ever met in my life. God definitely was working through her, even though she bought into a lot of the Mormon-type stuff. But that's another story. Hey, either way, man, it's been nice talking to you. I got somebody waiting on the line here with me, so thank you very much, and it's been great talking, man.
Absolutely, brother. Hey, thank you again for all your hard work, man. I love the videos. Keep them up, man. Thank you. Hey,
thank
God
you, man.
bless
Take care. You too. All right, bye-bye. Hey, I got somebody else on the line here, I think, waiting with me. Somebody there waiting?
Yeah, hey, how's it going, KJ?
It's awesome. Thanks for your patience, man. Who am I talking to?
My name's Tim.
Hi, Tim. How can I help you? How can I help you? What do you got for us?
Well, I just want to say that your videos are awesome, and I want to encourage you to continue to do what you're doing, man, because it's pretty awesome. And it's encouraged me to watch some of your work, dude. And it's opened my eyes to some stuff, so I really enjoy watching them, and I know that you're doing a good thing, and hopefully other people are getting as much out of it as I am.
Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I love doing them, and it just makes me really happy that some of y'all like them. Go ahead.
Rock on. All right, well, as far as paranormal stuff happening to me, I got a ton of stories. I was, I guess, reading your stuff. I was kind of like you, where I grew up in it. The house I grew up in was haunted, quote unquote. And but the most significant thing that happened to me that actually ended up bringing me to Christ, into a relationship with Jesus Christ, was I'm a fellow veteran as well. And
Thank
when
you.
I got back from I'm sorry?
Oh, I said thank you. Even though I didn't see wartime, I was a coastie. Dude, I actually was looking into being in the Peace Corps first, to be honest with you. That's why I went to the Coast Guard. And I was dumb at the time. I was young, so I was thinking I could just go to the Peace Corps without like any training. But either way, man, I'm glad you served. Thank you, sir. But go ahead.
Well, thank you for your service as well. Hey, Coast Guards, they got a job to do too, so.
Right.
But anyway, well, I was in the Marine Corps, and when I got back from Afghanistan in 2011, I was pretty angry. Well, I had an anger problem before I went into the Marine Corps, and then when I went to Afghanistan, I came back, I was even more angry about some of the stuff I'd seen and stuff.
Hey, can I ask you something? I'm sorry to cut you off. I want to ask you, when you were over there, because I've seen some interesting documentaries about our guys over there, and I've got a lot of military in my family. It's kind of a thing with a lot of us anyway. So some of my cousins have been over there. Man, were you on any kind of medication over there? Like, were you on uppers and downers at all, or was that a thing, or no?
No, they gave us this antibiotic. I think I can't remember the name of it. They gave us this antibiotic that we were supposed to take because of the West Nile virus and stuff like that.
Okay.
But it was giving me, like, it wasn't just me, it was giving a lot of guys, like, tripped out dreams. Like, I had a dream of and it was very vivid, where my wife stabbed our newborn daughter to death and stuff, and I was like,
wow,
whoa.
see?
Yeah, I was
oh
like,
my
I'm
gosh.
not taking this stuff anymore.
Dude, that is pharmakia. You're right. That is the dangerous. Everybody is complaining about weed, or not everybody, but a lot of people are. Man, that's not the concern. It's that pharmakia. It's that old school. Man, those are spirits and that stuff. But go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, I agree. Dude, it was, like I said, it wasn't just me. A bunch of the guys were having these nightmares from it, and they stopped taking it also. And, the corpsmen were pushing it, like, oh, you got to take it. I was like, dude, I'd rather die.
I was a corpsman, by the way, yeah. So, yeah, we've pushed all that horrible stuff. I was pushing Ritalin when I was in. That was the thing I was having to push on people. I'm really ashamed of that now.
Well, yeah.
But go ahead, man.
But anyway, so I came back, and I had also before I'd grown up in the church, but it was one of those things where it's like, we went to church, and then we go home, and my parents were like, all right, we have our church life, and then we have this life, yeah. outside of the church. So it's like, as a kid, it's like, what am I supposed to think about this? Plus all that, you're at school 8 hours a day with them, with shoving that evolution garbage down your throat. So I fell away, went off, did my own thing, joined the Marine Corps, and when I got back, I was, like I said, really angry, and I was trying to self-medicate it with alcohol, which wasn't a very good idea at all. And then I started researching into, like conspiracy theory stuff, because my friends were talking about 9/11 and how it was an inside job, and I was like, you guys are retarded, And then my one buddy put me up to the challenge. He was like, well, prove me wrong. I was like, okay, I will. And so I went and started researching it, and I literally blew my mind and turned my world upside down. I was like, no way. I was like, this is what I got friends buried in the ground for? Like, this is this is what I was willing to risk my life for? Like, no way. It was a major punch to the gut for me. And then after a while, our youngest daughter, she was 3 at the time, she started having these night terrors. Like, she'd wake up in the middle of the night screaming and stuff, and I was like, what the heck? I didn't know what was going on. But I had told my grandmother about it one time, and my grandmother, she's into the inner healing and deliverance.
Okay.
You know it?
I don't. Now, is that like natural healing, or is this part of some kind of denomination?
No, it's biblical. It's like casting out demons and healing people and stuff.
Oh, cool. I'm down with that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Manifesting the real powers of the Holy Spirit. Real powers, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and she's got some wild stories, dude. Like, I
love talking to those people, man.
Apparitions.
Yeah, I love talking. because they're real, man. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's something I've mentioned not long ago, actually. I wanted to do a show on that as like the actual kind of X-Men type superpowers, if you will, that spiritual people have, spiritual connected with God, that is, connected with Jesus, that there are real powers to the Holy Spirit we have, right?
Right, yeah. First Corinthians 15, Paul talked about that a lot in there, about the gifts of the Spirit. But anyways, so I called my grandmother about it, and I told her, and she was like, well, you should pray over the room. I was like, okay. What harm could that do? So I went upstairs and I prayed out loud over the room, and as I was praying, the room started getting colder. Like I could definitely tell a difference. And
Yep.
The unit was right outside my daughter's room, so I could heard that. And then once I said amen, the room got brighter. And I was like, wow, that's pretty wild. I looked outside to see if maybe the sun had peeked out from behind clouds. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. So the only thing I can explain from that was, the Holy Spirit, the power of God.
For sure, man. No, I'm right there with you.
Because I try to view things at a logical point,
Well, we have to, man.
Yeah, you really do. I mean, because there's some things that could be considered paranormal, but there could be a logical explanation behind it.
Absolutely.
So I tried to, rationalize this in my head, and I came to that conclusion, like, hey, it was the power of God. Well, that night, my wife went to bed, and I was downstairs, and I was looking at it, I said out loud, I said, if there's anything in this house, I bind you in the name of Jesus and get out now, that you're not welcome here. And then, like, all the hairs on my arms and my back, my neck stood up on end, like I got goosebumps everywhere. I was like, this is weird. And then I started getting a little warm. I was like, what the heck? And as I walk upstairs to go to the bedroom, I'm getting warmer and warmer. And I go into our bedroom, our bathroom, I'm brushing my teeth, I'm starting to drip sweat off my face. I'm like, what in the heck is going on, And I told my grandmother about it the next day, and she said from her experiences is when things try to attack her, like when she's doing, like casting out demons and stuff, it's the Holy Spirit protecting her is when she's getting warm. She's like, so something must have been upset with you that you did that and was trying to get at you.
For sure.
And I was like, well, that's nuts. So then I started watching the The Truth May Scare You video series by Know the Truth Studios on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then it got to the part where Hudson was talking about A$AP Rocky and how that producer was listening to the music, then he got attacked by demons. And then it was like, bam. When he said that, it was like a floodgate open, and all the stuff I learned in the church and from my grandmother when I was growing up, like, flooded in. And I realized, like, I was the reason why these things were attacking my family. Because I used to listen to all that hardcore, heavy music, like Lamb of God, Cannibal Corpse, All Shall Perish. And I would blare it in my house and stuff, And
yeah, it's got power, man.
Yeah, it does. It opens doors. It opens doors.
I used to be a big Pantera guy, and like I listened to, I went to Vulgar Display of Power tour. I went and saw them in concert during that one too. But I mean, man, I'd listen to their album and I'd be ready to go just punch a brick wall,
Well, yeah. Before I go out on patrols in Afghanistan, I listen to Lamb of God and Devil Driver to get me all pumped up and stuff,
Yeah. Well, hey, man. Go ahead. I just wanted to say I got a couple other people holding on here. I don't want to push you or anything, but if you have anything else to add, go ahead.
Yeah, but when that happened, like I said, it was like a floodgate opened up. Plus, I was a Freemason also.
No way. Are you serious, man? I was a
third-degree Master Mason, so I had a bunch of garbage in my house.
Listen, I am so glad that you told me that. Oh, my gosh. Can you let the people... There's people listening right here that still think that we're stupid for trying to expose that stuff. I know a little bit about it myself. I was actually approached a few times in the past. When I was out in L.A., I was approached twice to be a Mason when I was out there as a writer. So, but before that, I knew about it because when I was in the military, a lot of the guys were Masons. So, Can you tell us, man? Go ahead. I mean, am I right? Is it not like a slow indoctrination, essentially, into Luciferianism?
Oh no, it's definitely a slow indoctrination. Because when they approach you and then you agree to it, they're like, one of the terms is that you have to believe in a higher power, and they don't care who it is, whether it's Buddha, Jesus, whoever. As long as you believe in a higher power, then, you know, that's one of their main things, requirements for you to get in there.
Right.
And then through, you know, researching and getting into it more, I realized it's because their god is Lucifer. So in order, you have to believe in a higher power in order to worship Lucifer, you know, like.
Dude, you saying that, I feel it. You just freed a lot of minds, because a lot of people need to hear that from the inside. I've had these conversations on YouTube and my email for years with people that are Masons and really high up, and you name it. I'm serious. I've had a lot of people like approach me and just tell me things and be like, "How do you know all this stuff?" You know what I mean? And like, I'm not a Mason. I was never involved in it, you know, but it's like, I guess the Holy Spirit, I just connect with this. I understand it. But man, thank you. Right there. Thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. But yeah, once you said that, I got on my knees. Like I said, when I realized all the stuff that I had brought the stuff into my house and they were attacking my kids, and it's like, how, you know, as a parent, you always want to protect your children, and how can you protect your kids from something that you can't see, that you don't have any power over unless you have the power of Jesus Christ? You know? Exactly.
Yeah, man.
So I got on my knees. I accepted God back into my life, and then, I mean, it burned all that garbage, and it's been an awesome walk with Jesus Christ ever since.
That is awesome. I mean, I really appreciate you sharing that story with us, and just thank you. I mean, that was good. Somebody out there needed to hear that. Anyway, I just want to say thanks again, man, and hit me up on YouTube. You know, let me know how you're doing out there, okay?
Definitely. You take care of yourself, brother, and you keep on fighting the good fight.
I will, man. Thanks. Take it easy. Okay, somebody has been waiting patiently, I think. Are you still on the line?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great. Who am I talking to?
You're talking to Nathan Zaransky. How are you doing?
I am doing wonderful. Man, thank you so much for your patience. We're kind of flying by the seat of our pants tonight, so it seems to be working out, though.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm glad he got to say and got to include that last part. That needed to be heard.
Thanks, man.
Very important.
I agree.
That needed to be heard. It's ridiculous that everyone ignores that.
Totally.
But yeah.
What do you got for us, man?
I kind of wanted to start out so I don't take up too much time with the first thing. It doesn't take too much explanation. About 3 years ago, I think about 2011, on New Year's Eve going into 2012, I saw a UFO. I'm pretty sure it was pretty low, and I don't know if it was technically it's a UFO because it's unidentified.
Yeah.
But it technically had 3 lights in the back of it, and it's technically within the shape of a triangle.
Man, yeah, there's a lot of those.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone else has ever talked about those, if you've heard about those. I saw something on Wikipedia about it.
Let me throw this at you. Here's what I've been covering a lot, because I've done a lot of videos on the orbs, okay? Not necessarily the triangle, because there are government-style UFOs too, yeah? So, and a lot of those are in the shape of a pyramid, but, man,
yeah, that's probably what it was. It didn't make any noise at all. And, I mean, it was silent. I mean, dead silent. I mean, it was at a point where, pretty much right before New Year's happened, so nothing was going on, too.
I bet that was exciting, wasn't it? Was it kind of, how'd you feel when you saw it?
Overwhelming, because it's like proof of it at that point. It's a huge point of proof to see that, there's something definitely going on at that point.
For sure, yeah. I imagine, man, that's got to give you the creeps.
Yeah, but just another interesting thing, so I can get into this one a lot quicker. Another interesting thing for other people to hear, don't get into anything with Crowley or any of them. Even if you...
Crowley?
You think you know what you're into? Yeah, Crowley, yeah.
Okay, cool. Go for it, man. Go for it.
About the same year, 2011, right around the time that oddly, November 11th went on, and that whole thing about that went on, I got interested in his work. And it was more so to see what was going on and what he was saying, and not to worship it, but, that's still, that's how the dice roll. It doesn't matter if you're worshiping or not. It's there. And I purchased the Book of the Law, and I mean, if people know what I'm talking about when I say that, that's huge to them. It's got a lot of stuff in there, and it revealed a lot of different stuff to me at that time, and I immediately condemned it. But around the time that my grandma's twin died, she had a twin that died 10 years later on the exact same day, 4 minutes apart from each other. And knowing his work and getting into it, I started looking into that and started getting into numerology a little bit. And what happened from there pretty much began at, I went to sleep one night, and right before I went to sleep, I went over to lay down, and I don't know if it would be a night terror, people would call it still to this day, but 3 black spirits manifested. And and it's at the point where it's even hard to describe it, but it had a kind of a characteristic to it, where it's like one was skinny, one was a built set, and the other one was like a fatter. And I don't know if they were trying to take that on to appease to whatever I would take it as, but they were there. And what happened was pretty much a 2-hour persecution of my soul at that point, where I was being tormented by them over and over with different sayings, and by me calling out to God. And like I said, at this point, I didn't really understand Jesus Christ to his fullest extent and his fullest power. I didn't call out for him. And
Man,
it's an interesting thing that I found out later on.
Keep going.
Wait,
just keep going. This is great stuff. It just like you're resonating with me on a lot of levels, man. First and foremost, just as a guy who has a background in horror, it reminds me of a Hellraiser almost, which really scares me. But aside from that, I've heard similar stories, so keep rolling, man. I'm listening.
Another interesting point to add into this, because this would be something that I have to included this, so I'm completely honest. That night, I was into harder drugs at that point, but I had two stems from shrooms, and be honest, they don't do that much, and they didn't do that. They were very weak, and I had them that night, and it was very, very earlier in the night. And at this point, when I went to sleep, it was hours later when they weren't even in their effect.
And this was mushrooms? Was it just stems from mushrooms?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just the normal hallucinogenic, type of mushrooms.
Totally done those. Yeah.
And that's when, I don't know if that had anything to help with it. The combination of figuring out the fact that they're that date and putting it in, thinking it was odd, and just everything I've covered already and said that kind of added into it, and it turned it into that. And it the next day I woke up from it, and there was a figure on my bed of sweat. That was definitely from that night, from that experience happening. And I was engaged at the time, and I was shaking my fiancée, and she wouldn't move. There was no interaction, and they laughed pretty much at any time I tried to do anything. And it was a persecution of the soul. And hopefully there's someone else that hears this and comes out with more stuff about this, because I don't know if this has ever happened to anybody else. But it has turned obviously, I know Jesus Christ now in his fullest extent, I have found him, and I know that that's the only way. That is secure salvation. And I don't have any of that problems anymore, I don't have any of those different issues that go on, just like the guy before was just saying. After you get rid of all these different evil things from your life, it all ceases and it goes away.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
But yeah, I kind of wanted to get that in layman's terms real quickly, so I didn't take up too much time, so more people could, get in.
No, you did great. You seriously still have me on the edge of my seat here, man. I mean, like I said, I've heard very similar things, and I appreciate you sharing that story with us. And
no problem.
It sounds like everything's good now, though. Like you're not did you ever encounter any of that kind of energy at all anymore?
Oh no, because after that happened and all the different things, I started reading the Word. I started reading it, and that's another thing. I wish people that are listening, read. If I tell anyone anything, read it. It's the most important thing you're going to read.
For sure, man.
You need to read it.
I'm glad you threw that out there. That's true, and that's, and we got to, when we think of it, like erase the idea or that stigma that's attached to it, because growing up, I have that stigma of like boring, like, hymnals and being quiet and wearing a suit that I hated as a kid. Yeah, get rid of all that stuff.
They've done that to it. And once you take it away from it and you actually start getting engrossed into it, it's no book. it's something way more than that. And that's the only way you're going to ever find out like that, is if you actually let him into your life. You can't just read it and expect it to open up to you. Right, and that's the thing that people don't get. That's kind of like reading a book you didn't want to read and then expecting to remember anything you liked from it. You won't.
That's true. Well, hey, man, I better go ahead and move on. I got some peeps calling. I got somebody waiting over here. But, hey, it's nice talking to you. Thanks for telling us your story, man.
No problem.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks, man. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye. So I think I got somebody waiting on the line here. Is somebody on the line here?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can absolutely hear you. Who am I talking to?
Oh, cool. My name's Tim from Timmy20 channel or Capital Crunch.
Timmy, what's up, my man? You are you're always there in the chat room, man. Thank you.
You're welcome, man. I always like to support. I've been watching a lot of YouTube for quite a few years now, and when I came across your stuff, it was like right on par. It made me real happy to see anybody else who's involved or interested in looking deeper into things, you know. So it's,
thanks, man.
It's definitely a pleasure, man.
I appreciate
really
it.
the chat room
yeah.
too.
Good.
It's just fun being able to get together with people with like minds, you know.
Hey man,
that
was a whole reason that I even started this whole radio thing or whatever, you know, is just because, I mean, so many years ago when all this stuff started for me and how weird it is. I mean, I get it, you know. I know how weird this stuff is. I wasn't into this years ago, you know, so it helps me.
Stranger than fiction.
Right. So it helps me to see the community, man, like you and everybody else out there that at least have an open mind to a lot of this stuff. Either way, man, so very nice to officially meet you, sir. And what do you got for us tonight?
Well, I wanted to give a little bit of background first just to set it up, but I've got a pretty good story.
Go for it.
Pretty crazy. So let's see. I started out in, you know, like my house back in my hometown, and it was a family house. We moved there to take care of my grandma. My grandpa died, and she was pretty, you know, I don't know, I don't like the word religious, but she went to church all the time and was an active member in that community and stuff. And so I, you know, I went to Sunday school with her and stuff like that. But you know, I was a little kid, so I didn't really get it, you know. And but I've always believed in Jesus and the Bible. I didn't really have a direct connection with it. So as I got older, you know, I actually got saved. You know, and when I got saved, it was like I grew up kind of like sickly, and I had asthma a lot and stuff like that. And I remember, like, the moment I gave my life to Christ, I could actually breathe for the first time out of, like, both my nostrils. And it was like a new air. I mean, it felt a literal physical change. And so it was crazy.
Yeah.
And, at that point, I got all on fire, you know, and I was thinking, oh, everyone's going to hell. I got to save everybody, you know. I got to share the experience. And, you know, so my parents thought I'd lost my mind. And I think I was in, like, 4th, 5th, 6th grade, somewhere in there. And, you know, half of my family's Jewish, so, of course, you know, I was persecuted heavily inside my own home. So it was real weird.
Well,
but I remember
that half that's Jewish, are they actually practicing or no?
They were more secular. I mean, I'd gone to temple with them before, but I think they were pretty secular.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've had Jewish friends throughout the years, but I've noticed that they'll kind of claim it, but it's literally like, you know, it's like going to the bingo hall or something when they got to go do it or something.
Yeah,
you know? I don't know.
Well, they're like one of the only groups where it's a racial thing, so it goes through the blood, but then it's also a religion. So you can be Jewish and have nothing to do with the religion of it, or you can be totally religiously Jew and not be Jewish by blood. Also, like who was that one guy? Sammy Davis Jr. was a converted to Judaism.
Yeah.
And so he's black and he's Jewish, but he was also a member in the Church of Satan. So
absolutely.
That ought to tell you something right there.
Well, I've got a video coming out of connecting with that called "Thanks for the Memories." It's a book from Bryce Taylor. Have you heard of that book?
No, I haven't.
All right. Well, I'll put the video up here soon. But yeah, check it out. It's about mind control. Anyway, I'm diverting. Let's get back to point.
No,
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll try and hustle. I don't want to go too deep into it. But
you're cool, man. We're good.
Oh, cool. Thanks. So I got saved and everything, and then and so I got real active in this. Like, it was like a house church. It wasn't like an organized religious thing. And it was like every Wednesday, and then they moved it to Thursdays because they didn't want to conflict with people who went to church. And so, I mean, they were real open. But what really got me involved in it was just a guy. You know, the kids would play for about an hour, and then they'd do like the praise and worship, and then the guy would just read the Bible. But while he was reading it, he would sit there and explain it to you. Like, he'd read a passage, and then he'd tell you in layman's terms, like, what it was saying. And he gave enough context to where it was like, you know, me being in 5th grade, I was like, whoa, I get it. You know, for the first time, I was, like, hearing it, and it made sense about it.
Yeah.
And at one point, I had, like, prophecy where I was able to, because I didn't like the praise and worship part, so a lot of times I would just sit there and pray for people while they're, you know, dancing and all that stuff. And I remember prophesying, and it was mind-blowing because all God, and I've always been artistic, and I grew up with horror, so I can relate to you with that.
Yeah, exactly.
I used to love the horror movies. So, yeah, I never got scared that easy, but and I've always been artistic, so when God showed me this prophecy, he just showed me symbols. And when I saw the symbols, I put it together in my mind, like what I thought it meant, and I went to the girl and explained it to her, and the stuff didn't happen. And for like a year later, I thought I was crazy, and when it happened, the symbols didn't turn out the way that I thought it was meant to be, as like how it was going to play out.
Well, let me ask you. Let me quickly ask you. Sorry to cut you off, but I have to.
Sure.
When you said
No
I
problem.
thought I was crazy, it's important to cover that because many of us who have these kind of otherworldly things sometimes experiences or just thoughts or ideas, and we see these connections, we feel that way. I felt that way. I mean, what was that like for you, man, when you say I felt I was crazy or whatever?
Sorry about that, guy. Well, I mean,
you're cool.
It, for an instant, like, I felt real special. Like, well, why would he show me these things? And it was about this girl and this guy who were like some of the older kids. I think they were seniors, but they had gotten engaged to get married. And when I prayed because I prayed for everybody in this room, when I got to this girl, it just, like, hit me. And I saw, like, a red cross. I saw a skull and crossbones, like a image of death. And then I saw a car slammed into the side of another car, like T-bone. And I know it was, but there were 4 symbols. And so I went and told her, and I was like, hey, man, I think James is going to get killed in a car wreck, or I think y'all are going to be in a bad car wreck, and so I'm scared y'all are going to die. And I just started crying while I was telling her this stuff. And it turns out, like, I thought I was crazy because nothing happened, right? And so I was like, okay, well, maybe it was just my imagination. I tried to play it off on all these other things. But when it actually came to pass, what happened was their relationship died. They ended up breaking off their engagement, and they didn't even stay friends or anything like that.
Wow.
And that guy James was in a car wreck, and he had gotten T-boned, just like I saw it, and he was in the hospital for like a couple months. He basically almost died, and he was on life support and stuff. So everything in that dream came to pass, but not the way I thought. I thought it was going to happen this way because I interpreted the symbols, with my carnal mind. But spiritually, God showed it to me for a reason, but I couldn't really make sense of it. So once, and I didn't even know any of this happened until I talked to that youth pastor. And he was like, yeah, remember that prophecy you had? He was like, it happened. And he told me all about it. And I was like, man, I forgot all. That's just crazy.
Have you had other ones, or was that it? Has it continued, or?
Well, I think there were about 2 more, and they were really small. And, I wouldn't want to call it insignificant, but they weren't significant enough for me to remember now. But I've always been really good at looking into people's eyes and kind of telling their character.
Same here, man. Same here.
Yeah. If you go by the vibe,
For sure. You feel it, don't you? It's like,
yeah.
I mean, that whole, it's like, oh, the eyes are window to the soul. We hear it all the time.
Yeah.
But it's like, they really are. And if you can narrow in on it and just kind of focus, to me, I think you can genuinely see in there,
Yeah, and what sucks is I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. So a lot of times I'll override that bad vibe, I'll end up getting burned by it or something. But I've always been that advice guy where I can see it. I can see the writing on the wall, and I can tell you what's coming ahead of time. And I can help everyone else except for myself. It's really weird. And usually when I give the advice, no one ever takes it anyways, and then it's like I don't even pull the I told you so card out. But, so I've seen... it's turned more now into, like, the symbols. Like, when I watch TV, which I don't do very often, but all I do is decode. Like, I don't enjoy watching TV anymore except for just to break the code,
I'm kind of that way, too, yeah.
I mean, everything I see, and I think really the scales come off your eyes. Well, obviously, like, the closer you get to God, the more He'll reveal, but I think you really get into it when you start to realize that everything starts in the spirit realm, manifests into the physical after the fact. So I think there's times when people are doing the code on purpose, and I think there's other times where the code is spiritually manifesting, where it's not orchestrated by humans,
It's weird, too, because in a way, I mean, the whole, my kind of awakening to symbolism and all that, I had gone through a period of years where I wasn't watching TV or media or anything, but then kind of my interest in symbolism rejuvenated my interest in movies and stuff again. So just in the last year, I'm kind of watching more here and there, but through different filter, of course. I realize the mind control there. I'm not letting it come in, but I'm seeing the symbols. You know this. You're the same way. But,
But I'm going back into, like, all the old horror movies that we grew up on and watched and liked, like the Hellraisers and that Prince of Darkness, that John Carpenter movie you mentioned.
Huge.
That was the first movie that ever gave me nightmares. Like, the first movie that ever scared the piss out of me.
Seriously.
I saw Exorcist, before I was in kindergarten. I saw Faces of Death before I was in kindergarten, and that stuff didn't bother me, but something about that movie really got to me.
Seriously,
I had nightmares
man.
for a week. Okay,
What?
so I'll hurry. I've got that
No, go
story
ahead.
I'll tell real quick. Okay, cool. I hustle because I don't wait all the time, but
You're all right, man. We're
okay,
good.
so-
Keep going. I think I got somebody waiting, but they're being wonderful. By the way, I just want to throw out, we're at the first hour mark, and I'm going to keep going. We're not going to take a break so I can get more calls in, but thank you. What I've been doing here is every time I finish with one caller and I get another one, I'm bringing a second person in as I'm talking to the next person who is waiting. So all of you have been really nice and patient and quiet, so thank you. So anyway, Timmy, go ahead, man. We still got a little time. Sure.
Okay, so after I got saved and had the prophecy and all that stuff happen, I basically ended up kind of backsliding in a way. My youth pastor told me that it's either of the world or it's of God, and it can't be in between. And so the two problems in my life at that time were comic books and music, because I've always liked heavy metal. And so I told him, I said, well, I'm not going to give up my music or my comic books. And he was like, well, do you realize all the occultism in the comic books? And I was too young to really understand that. But now, after the fact, hindsight 2020, I see it completely. So I've gone back and decoded a lot of the comics and stuff, too, and it's crazy. So I
Go ahead.
to remove the music, right? When I prayed to God for him to remove the music, it was basically I would come home and listen to the music after school and do homework. And it was about a month went by and the music was gone. So God had removed that out of my life without me even knowing it. So even though God was manifesting his power in my life, and so as I backslid, I felt like, okay, I don't feel the warm, fuzzy feeling anymore. I don't feel him as strongly in my life. And so I started to kind of get angry at God about it, and, life's never perfect. So it wasn't like I blamed God, but it was like, well, you saved me once, you can come get me again. And so I kind of turned away from God. I turned away from God and started getting into the old because I wanted to see what the other side had to offer. And so when I went that direction, it took a long time to get back on the path. I'll just put it that way. And but I think in the end, the exposure, all that, really helped me to be able to have a greater understanding of the enemy and his infrastructure and how he operates, and to be able to share that experience with other people to help them, move away from that direction.
Well, I'm glad you even said that, but even with that, Timmy, that somebody out there needed to hear that, because we've all kind of been in that place, where you separate yourself from God for whatever reason. You know what I mean? My thing was being raised very religious, and I had a lot of resentment towards religion because just the people, I got to be careful what I say, but just some of the people, I knew in my heart they weren't good people, and
right.
I don't know, man.
As a blanket.
Yeah, so I went my own way too, went into the world. I can be very nihilistic, I can be very anarchistic, I can be very bohemian.
Yeah.
I've lived my life, but we all have.
That road completely.
Right? Well,
but
anything else? Go ahead, Timmy.
Yeah, quickly. Well, okay, so this is the scary story to fit with the topic, right? So I'm in second grade going to third grade. It's the summer in between. And at the end of my street where I grew up, there was an apartment complex. And at the back of the apartment complex, there's a little playground for, people who live there. And, my buddy goes in to watch Arsenio Hall. This is how old school that is. And then he comes back out, right? And so it's probably about midnight. And we're sitting on the merry-go-round, and we're just going around real slow. I mean, we're pretty much ready to pass out. And, now spatially, about 10 yards away from the merry-go-round, there are parallel bars, about 2 bars waist high where you can walk with your hands or whatever. And then beyond that, there's this swing set in a sandbox. And so we're going around real slow. And we go around one time, and nothing's there, right? And we go around a second time, and I swear I saw a demon, right? And so it's like that whole
what did it look
sleep
like?
Paralysis. It's like that whole sleep paralysis thing. Like I was instilled with so much fear, I couldn't talk, I couldn't move, I couldn't do anything. And we were going around so slow, I got a really good look at him. He was probably between 7 to 10 feet tall, somewhere in there. Super tall. It wasn't like a normal, he didn't look like an NBA player. He looked like massive, right? But he had on this robe like what you would think the Grim Reaper would have on or something like that. And it had a hood.
That's not that far out of the. Yeah, I actually just kind of to add to that, I did a video a while back. It was sent to me by somebody. I can't remember now, but I gave credit in the video. But it's from a movie where, kind of in a scene, they caught that figure, that kind of hooded figure, and other people have seen that thing around as well. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very commanding presence. But the interesting thing was it was bright white, like completely white. The robe was white. Everything about it was white, and from like below, it had like a fog or mist coming up around its feet, and there was light from below shining upwards, almost like it had come up a staircase that you couldn't see because it was underground or something.
Yeah.
And this is the weirdest part, was that when I looked at his face, it had the face of like a facial expression, like it looked at me like it wanted to kill me. Like that's all I could tell for sure, is that it wanted me dead and it wanted to kill me. And it just had this look of like hatred.
What did you feel when you first saw that? What did you feel? First feeling?
I mean, the only word I could think of was like terror. Like like I said before, I'm really scared as a child. Me and my dad used to play a game where we try and scare each other. So like getting startled or being scared, that's not really in my nature. So to feel terror, you know, that it was totally foreign to me. But I was paralyzed with fear, and so when I'm looking at it, and this to me, I think this is so crazy because I've seen a lot of this come out with the alien stories. Is when I look at his face, I remember the expression and I remember the emotion that it emoted me, but I could never. I mean, I'm talking like instantly that night. I couldn't remember what his face looked like. And being an artist, I should be able to remember, you know, where the nose was, the shape and structure of the eyes, cheekbone, that kind of stuff. Like, there was no features that were rememberable. It was almost like it blotted out my ability to remember it. So when I saw it looking at me, you know, it just freaked me out. But he stood there, and he never moved. Like, he never had any motion. And so we went around on that merry-go-round once, and he was there, and we went around the next time, and he was gone. And so that first time when I saw him, he was back, you know, maybe 20 yards away where the swing set was in the sandbox. And that third time when we went around, he was gone, and so I felt like this relief. And then that fourth time when we went around on the Revolution on the little merry-go-round, he was back again, but he had closed the distance by half. Like, he was now right next to the parallel bars. It freaked me out. He was in the same position, and everything was the same, just his location was closer. And so at that point, me and the other guy that I was with got up and ran to his apartment, which was at the front. And when we got there, like, I mean, I'm freaking out. I was surprised I was able to get up and run, but I asked him, I was like, well, you tell me what you saw, because he saw something too. And to me, this is, I think, some of the strangest aspects is that what he described seeing was, he said he saw an angel. And he said the angel, he didn't see the same thing I saw. He said and I made him tell me first, so that way we wouldn't mix our stories together, because I didn't really trust this guy. And he said he saw an angel that was about 3.5 feet tall, that had wings spread out, and that had his head cocked to the side and looked at him like he had asked a stupid question. And I thought that was really funny.
That is. I'd like to think that an angel could kind of be cool like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, and I spent most of my life trying to figure out what this meant or what it was or who, and it's my opinion, and I can't confirm this or anything, but I think that I've heard that when you get saved, the devil marks you, and so he basically sends demons specifically for you to mess you up.
Well, sure, and I'll add this one to that too, and I'm not to cut you off, but I should probably move on in a second, Timmy, just because I've got some callers, and I got somebody waiting on the line here. But I'll throw this at you, man, and here's another one, and some people out there may recognize this. There's also this whole thing where if you ever hear your name called behind your back, you know, like so clearly, it happened to me, and this is why I looked into it. It happened to me years ago. But this is a whole thing. Look this up, okay? You hear your name called and you turn around. It's supposed to be the devil kind of calling your name out or something, like he's watching you or he's coming at you. So, but right? Creepy. I mean, it is creepy. It happened to me years ago. I remember hearing that. Now, again, I mean, who knows? I looked into it later, and that's the story I found, and maybe that's what it is, or I don't know. I was younger then, so maybe I was on LSD. I'm not sure, but either way,
I think these things I think they get fun out of just messing with people too. Like, I don't always think they have some
for sure.
agenda.
It's the clown.
Their agenda is just to clown around with you.
Well, hey, man, it's been nice talking to you, man. I really appreciate it, Timmy. Thanks for always being in the chat. Let's talk again soon, okay?
All right, thanks for your time. I appreciate your patience.
Take care, man. Hey, somebody else has been a saint over here. Who are you?
Hello?
Hi there. What's your name?
My name's Tim.
Tim? Was it Tim?
Hello? Yeah,
Hi, Tim.
Sorry, you're breaking up. Yeah.
No, you're cool, man. I hope you can hear me okay. Man, thank you so much for being patient that whole time. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
What do you got for us, man?
Like, I was listening to your last caller, and his name was Tim as well, right? And
right.
My name's Tim, and the stories are kind of similar. It's just like, you gave me chills.
That's how things work.
Yeah, I seen, when I was younger, I think I was about 5, I seen a demon. And I remember being young, playing in the hallway of our old home. And, sitting in the hallway, playing with my cars in front of my parents' room. And I felt like you could just feel a presence staring down,
Mm-hmm.
And I looked up, and it was dark in the room, and I didn't see anything. So I felt the presence again, and I looked up, and I remember seeing it was almost like a shadow, muscular figure, kind of very, very tall. I remember it was from the bottom of the floor all the way to the top of the ceiling.
A shadow guy.
Kind of, but like it had a muscular, like, I don't know how to describe it. It was very kind of muscular. Like, it had a strength about it and a very evil, menacing presence. And it was looking down at me, coming toward me, and I froze. And then how he was describing, you just have that whole feeling of like you're terrified, you can't do anything. And I managed to call my dad, and my dad came over, and I told him, and I pointed at the wall, just kind of stuck. And he looked, and he's like, okay, like he thought I was just kind of making it up. So I'm sitting there like in shock. I'm young. You don't know how to react to something like that.
Right.
And it came out again. But my father actually saw the look at me from the hall, and he ran over, and my father actually seen it as well. And
was that the first time your dad had experienced something, or did he kind of know something was?
He's pretty familiar with kind of like the spirit and demons, and
okay.
He's a born again Christian as well. I come from a Christian home, very similar background to you, as well as like church thing, and but yeah, he actually he's seen it, and the way he sees it was somewhat similar, but I don't remember its face so much. But he said that it almost had a how they describe the aliens as these? How that face is?
Yeah.
It had that face. And
that's scary, dude.
He said in the name of Jesus. He said in the name of Jesus, and as soon as he said that, it just like pulled back, and it was just like the air was like peaceful. It was crazy.
I love it, man. That's what a lot of people are saying tonight. That's a great confirmation, but it really is. When you invoke Jesus into this stuff, these things they're gone. There's no power.
It is, and I've experienced it. Like I can't say my walk in my life has been, perfect. I still,
well, hey, like, join the club, man. Trust me, I'm right there with you. Most of us are.
Yeah, and I have that kind of resemblance, kind of towards church in a way, like having it kind of somewhat forced on me. But I know it's real. I know that the power of Christ is real, but the whole church aspect is like, it's kind of iffy on it. It's like my own thing I'm dealing with. But the spiritual side, I feel it. Like I've always been sensitive to it. And I've had really weird dreams sometimes. And I've had dreams like so vivid. Like you wake up and I can remember every little detail about it. It's weird. I have had like an apocalyptic form. And that was really weird too. I was in a city, and it was like a post-apocalyptic type thing, except when I was running through buildings, abandoned buildings on fire escapes, I got on top of a roof, and I could actually see these large demons, like monster figures that were jumping from building to building, to skyscraper to skyscraper. It was something that I couldn't even imagine, like in a movie. So I'm seeing this, and I see one of them coming towards me, And for some reason, I'm like, I'm going to jump on it. Like, I have to get across over the hitch ride on this thing. And I remember as it came by, I jumped off the fire escape, and I jumped on it, and it landed, and I jumped off. And I'm running streets, like, trying to get away, like, if they're patrolling or if there's, like, you know, something out there. And as I'm running through the streets, I noticed that there was, like large beasts running through the streets, like, devouring people. And I'm running and hiding, and I go into some sewer that's underneath the building, and I'm in there. And I remember, like, when my eyes start to adjust to the light in the stream, I see hundreds of people, like, underneath this building, like, in refuge, like, covered in dirt. It was so scary, like,
yeah.
To the day, it's like, man, like, I hope that I don't experience that, because it was just so real. And I felt like it was, like, you know, something from God, like,
well,
this is going to happen.
You're not alone in that. I get a lot of people are having similar dreams and visions, and you know, I don't get that myself. It's not what I get, but I get people writing me and telling me similar things. So, you know, either way, man, you know how it is. You know, we hang in there, we stay positive, we pray, and we don't worry about this stuff, man. You know, I mean, as much as evil's manifesting, good is manifesting even more so. Yeah. True,
very true. And yeah, I mean, it's an honor to talk to you. I've really enjoyed your work online, and it's like every day when you put something out, it's like, oh, cool, man, I got to see what he's doing. It like it kind of motivates me to like keep my eyes open, and I try to tell my friends.
Thanks, man.
And it's I guess the walk with your eyes open is interesting, you know.
Man, yes, and man, thanks. I appreciate that. It's like, it always makes me feel shy or something when people say those things. But man, thank you. I really appreciate it. And I love making them. I love doing videos. It's what I enjoy. And it makes me even happier when people like them. I know it sounds really random and simple, but either way, man, thank you very much. It's been nice talking to you. I got somebody else waiting here. I need to bounce on over, man. But let's talk again soon, okay?
Oh, for sure, KJ. Thank you.
See you later. All right, now, this person here, I hope you're still there. You have been calling, and I'm so sorry I've not been able to get you in here. It just keeps going. It's like every time you call, I'm with somebody else. Is somebody there right now?
Yeah, I'm here. You hear me?
Yeah, I sure can. Hi, who am I talking to?
What's going on? This is Gino from Florida, Fort Lauderdale.
Gino, man, I've seen you calling a lot. I'm sorry. It's the wrong timing.
Yeah, but
go ahead. What can we do for you, man? Or what can you do for us? What kind of spooky story you got?
Well, first of all, I've been watching your videos, and I like to, say that I see you grew a lot from your videos, and it's like the rabbit hole just gets deeper and deeper. It don't have no end, it seems like,
It can feel that way.
Yeah. But I got a few stories. I got 3.
Hello?
Where I'm actually, my nationality is Haiti, from Haiti.
Oh, okay. I kind of already know where you're going. I've done some videos on this. Talk to us. Talk to us.
Real interesting ones. Basically, I'm gonna give you a quick, because a lot of people don't know the background of the island. So I'll give you a quick background of the island.
Go for it.
Basically, Haiti was our last slave owners was the French. And there was one guy, Bookman, who basically he started the broken French, which is a Creole. And he, to make it short, he made a big voodoo ceremony. And that's how we was actually the first free blacks, 100 years before the blacks in America. The ceremony, I forgot the name of the ceremony, but it was a big ceremony where a whole bunch of spirits came out, and basically they was literally chopping the French's heads off. And that's why no other country tried to take us over. We've been free for over 100 years after the before the blacks in America was free.
You know what? Let me just throw this out real quick. That is really heavy. It reminds me of something kind of random, but it's something I read about the Jamaicans many years ago, and it was saying that like Rastafarians and Jamaicans, but the whole idea of dreadlocks, they were saying originally, was to kind of create this mythos of these jungle monsters for the white men and white people to be afraid of. And I thought that was genius. I kind of felt an interesting connection there. Sorry, but go ahead.
I didn't hear about that one, but actually Bookman came from England. He came, England had took him from Africa, and they took him from a tribe called the Ashanti tribe where they fought with witchcraft. And they were giving England he was giving England a lot of problems. So England did not like the French back then. England sold him to the French that occupied in Haiti. You understand?
Yeah.
He was actually causing a lot of problems. But anyway, after he did the ceremony, a lot of people in the island, wanted to learn, the art of voodoo. So everybody, started, not everybody, but a good majority of them started learning it and doing it to each other, and, basically it was a mess. But my first encounter with
I'm sorry to cut you. I just want to throw this in too, man, because we got some time, you and I love this subject. Is there a connection with Catholicism to that particular sect out there?
With Catholicism? Explain that to me.
I've seen there's a connection with Catholicism with even, we're going more into like Louisiana, voodoo, New Orleans, stuff like that.
You just spoke about what I was going to talk about.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Because I want to get some definition of Catholicism, whichever. But the people in New Orleans are actually Haitian. A lot of people don't know this. It was actually last year when America made a monument statue to the the Haitians who fought in the Revolutionary War. They don't speak about that in school.
Wow, I didn't even know about that.
What happened was, yeah, you can look it up. I just seen it was last year they made a monument to the Haitians that fought in the Revolutionary War. What happened was the South was losing. So, and my mom remembered this because my mom was little. They came over. There was a lot of white people, and they said they needed help. They gave them a promise that they're going to give them, basically 40 acres and a mule, basically the same promise they gave the blacks,
And the old American Indian treatment, too, I guess, to some degree.
Exactly. So, basically, a lot of them came and they fought in the war. So, New Orleans is quarters. Our language is broken Creole, which is broken French, broken French. So, all of them fled to New Orleans because they could understand the French, the language. You understand? So the people actually in New Orleans, they don't much know their background, but they are actually Haitian,
Interesting.
So when I went to New Orleans, and I'm like, and I used to always wonder that, well, how can I understand the language they speak? Where these people are from, Because majority, there's a few words that's different, but I could understand the whole conversation,
Yeah.
Anyways, I had several encounters with several things, In my country, there's no secret.
Well, but what's the connection with black magic and whatnot? Like, have you ever heard of that or seen, like, actual things manifesting? And I've done some videos showing a video from Haiti, or even like New Orleans. I know it's a little different, of course, but areas where they're doing different rituals and whatnot, and people genuinely look possessed. Their bone structure changes and everything. I mean, are you familiar with this kind of thing?
Yes, demons actually, in some cases, come into the body, and there's some people who actually marry spirits. It's still kind of like in Genesis. They actually, when they marry the spirit, I know one is called Izerly. And when you marry her, you can't have sex with nobody on Thursday. That day is particularly for her.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's a lot of people. there's a lot of people that actually marries the spirits, and actually that day is for the spirits. And if you do have sex in that day, you could basically end up dying.
Well, that's certainly no joke. There's real legitimate study out there on like succubi and incubi and people having sexual situations with spirits, actually having release, if you will. I mean, the whole thing's there. It's insane,
Exactly. Like when I was little, I'm gonna tell you one story. When I was in Haiti, I was little, and we had our next door neighbor. Now, with them, all of a sudden one day I just hear them yelling. Their kid died. One of the kids died. They had 3 kids. One of them fell down the stairs. The next day, another one died. The third day, another one died. So I asked my mom what's going on. My mom said, what happened is they went to a voodoo priest. They tried to get, they did a ceremony to get money, to be rich, basically. So when they went to do the ceremony, they thought it was a gimmick, because there's some people out there that's gimmicks. They just want to take your money, whatever. They'll do
sure.
They'll make like they'll do it for you, but it's actually, they don't have no power. They're not doing it, Anyways, it's been like 2-3 weeks. They haven't seen nothing, so they just thought, they didn't think nothing of it. After the first kid died, they always dying like weird deaths.
Yep.
After they came from the last funeral, they come in the house, they seen 4 potato sacks full of money, and they started screaming. So me and my mom went over there, and they had to call the priest and basically to burn the money. But what they did, a lot of people don't know, when they go to do a ritual, they'll go to somebody else, but they don't know it's always a payback. Sometimes the voodoo person will go ahead and pay it back themselves, with just several ways to pay it back. They give up souls, they find a soul. But sometimes they actually do it up under your name, basically like your credit.
Yeah,
like
man.
I'm doing it on your credit. And it comes back, but I see a lot of people don't know this. But I kind of stayed away, when I came to America, I seen everything was basically secret, Nobody, everything was hush-hush, and it's like the Masons were like the nicest people. They built a big library. They did a lot of work. I'm like, well, these Masons look kind of different. That's why, I'm like, well, these Masons are different from back home, but they actually the same, right?
Well, hey, man, I appreciate your call, and not to be rude, but I need to go ahead and move on. It's been great talking, but I got somebody waiting over here. But I just wanted to say thank you, genuinely, man. I appreciate you. It's been cool stuff and very enlightening.
Okay, thank you.
All right, man, let's talk soon. Take care. All right. Now, I hate doing that, but I got to do it. I want to get as many people in as I can. Somebody over here has been a little saint. Somebody's still waiting there for me?
Hello.
Hi. What's your name?
Hi, KJ.
Hi.
My stories are going to be kind of adolescent sounding compared to his.
Adolescent? Well, that's perfect. Go ahead. Well, thanks for waiting so long, by the way. I appreciate it. Go ahead. You got time.
You're not as informed as his, so I feel bad that you got off the phone with him.
Oh, no. I got to do it. I got to get some people on here. I mean, that's the whole point. But go ahead, please.
I have quite a few, actually. My whole life's been kind of weird.
Go for it.
I'll just start out with the Ouija board one, I guess.
Okay.
My first year in college, my best friend and I, we made this homemade Ouija board because we're just nerds. And we just like to spook ourselves out. And I mean, now I don't do anything like that. It's just insane, especially after this experience. But we made a homemade one, and we went to Catholic school, which I'm not Catholic really anymore, but I was brought up Catholic, and so I sprinkled holy water on it, thinking that it would would help keep the evil things away, and we just talked to a spirit or something like that.
I know.
And
next time, try kerosene.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm so nervous. I don't speak well publicly, so I'll try to.
No, you're doing just fine. Go ahead.
And so we contacted something almost immediately, and we'd said something stupid like only good spirits come to the board or something like that, and of course they're going to lie and say, "Oh, I'm good," and
exactly.
It said we asked it how old it was, and it said 0, and we said, "What do you mean by that?" And it said, "Never. I was never alive." And we were like, "Oh, this doesn't sound good."
It said it was never alive?
Never alive, I guess just a spirit, and said we didn't understand. We asked it to elaborate, and said it was a baby. And
yikes.
It was just never alive, but it was thousands of years old. But never alive.
So talking to a dead baby that's thousands of years old, that is creepy.
Yeah, it said it's about like 2,000 years old. It's been like 10 years, so. And I just tried to forget about it because the whole week was just really, really creepy. So we started doing it every day because we were like, "Oh, it's a baby," and it started telling us that it was contacting our relatives, and it would say things that no one else would know.
Weird. It was saying this on the Ouija board?
Yeah, a homemade one that we made.
Wow.
And so then I had 2 other friends. I was telling them, "Oh, we need to try it," and 2 of my other friends that went to Catholic school with us, 2 girls, came over, and it was doing the same with them, and they were impressed at first. And then the second night, my friend asked it something about God, and then it said, it called her a bitch or something like that, and she said,
"Yikes."
Oh, it also said it was an angel, too, at one point. And so she said an angel would never call somebody a bitch, and it was like, just a bitch.
It hope not.
And so then we stopped doing it for that evening, and then the next day, like, all of the 4 of us had these horrible migraine headaches, and I worked at Sally Beauty Supply, and there were pictures of models everywhere, and their eyes, like, I just had the feeling of a presence with me, and eyes on the pictures, like anything I looked at, magazines and pictures, the eyes would become evil and the faces would change.
Yeah, no, and see, and that's not like crazy to think something like that. I mean, it's just, again, and we talked about this earlier in the show, but when we create portals, when we basically allow these things in, it's like that whole idea. We see it in movies all the time and TV shows with vampires. I just saw the American version of Let Me In. It's from I think a Swedish movie or Norwegian or something of another movie. Kind of the idea of, have you seen that?
I have the book, but I haven't read it.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so you know.
Because it was interesting.
I loved both versions of the movie. They were different, but I thought it was great. But either way, I mean, that goes back to that vampire mythos of you have to say, I can come in. You have to allow us in. So, you know what I mean? So when we create portals, even beyond just saying, hey, vampire, come in, but we just create portals and allowing things in, man, I think that all kinds of strange manifestations can take place. Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, to this day, sometimes even I can't look at any eyes on a picture because sometimes I've just felt kind of depressed, like every once in a while. I pray a lot, so it's not bad, but throughout the years, there's been something that things will move every once in a while, but we all had migraine headaches, on faces would change, and when she said, my friend Jennifer, the one that it called a bitch, said that when she looked at clocks, she felt like the presence was with her. And then it told us later, we asked it if that was it with us when these things would happen, and it said yes. And it named off each time, with mine with eyes, it named that, and with hers with the clock. And then the other girl, it was like when she was undressing, it said it was with her. And I forget what my friend Kelly's was, but it was definitely the start of some kind of oppression. And then we called our priest that we grew up with, and he was just like in bed, and he wouldn't do anything. He just like depressed and hung up. So we were like, okay.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Well,
so yeah. And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I forgot what I was going to say, but that's pretty much how it ended there. But and then a shadow person when I'm in London. Sorry, someone's calling in on the other line. I lived in this big house because my sister's husband is an expat, and he has a pretty good job, so we lived in a house in a prestigious area, and it was built by the Masons around the 1700s or something like that. And the stained glass windows have Mason art all throughout and symbols, and I have pictures of those.
Has there been any weird spiritual things happening in that home, or?
Oh yes, when I'm back in Kansas City now, but when I lived there, every single night I would have these dreams of like demons, and I never ever dreamed the violent dreams I had there.
Right.
And I would hear something laughing at night, and then the doors would open in my bedroom. I had an octagon bedroom off to the corner, like of my own little area, and it was in shape of an octagon, and it was just horrible. Like I never slept there. So one morning I woke up, and I used to close all of the shades so there was no light or shadow play or anything. And I woke up and I saw this little tiny, like 4-foot shadow person running across the room just as fast as he could. Like he didn't want to be seen, and then he jumped through the wall outside. And my sister had seen a child leaning over my nephew upstairs when he was asleep, but she doesn't believe in things. She just said she was dreaming, so she tries not to think about things like that. But
well, see, even on that note, though, it's interesting. I mean, I've kind of covered some of that subject in the past, but the idea of how architecture itself can kind of create portals, and I find a lot of organized religion will have the pyramid with the sun symbolism in their architecture and things like this. So this is why I question how much of the wicked beast system, if you will, can kind of creep in there. So, you know what I mean? So I think that portals can be all around us, and this is why it all comes back to kind of the protection of God, the Creator, or a connection with Jesus Christ, of course, as well, just to protect us from this stuff, because that's where it's all coming from. It just occurred to me, this really has been our own kind of Halloween show, hasn't it? I mean, this doesn't even feel Halloween, but I love it, because all these calls have been very similar, but in their own unique way. It's all about kind of these spiritual battles, manifestations. It's great. It's just what I've noticed.
Yes, I love your show, and I love the guy that's always on your show, that round Saturn eyes.
Oh, he's great.
So I'm glad I saw his channel through your channel. So. Well,
thanks. He's great. Well, I agree. No, and he'll be back on again here real soon. And either way, I hate to kind of like push this along. I got about 20 minutes left. I got somebody sitting over here waiting. But go ahead.
I'm sure my stories were like the most uninteresting. So
you stop it. Stop. You get out of here.
The last caller, I was like, oh God, I should hang out.
Stop. You've been wonderful and you've been great. And I just want to keep like getting as many as I can. But you've been great. Let's talk again soon. Thanks so much for calling in and sharing your story with us.
Okay, thank you. Have
All
a good
right.
night.
See you later. You too. Okay, so somebody once again has been quite wonderful. Is somebody waiting on the line here for me?
Hey, KJ, it's Brian from South Florida. Nice to talk to you.
Man, Brian, dude, you're awesome. Thanks, man, for being patient. You guys are amazing. How's it going, bro? I called you bro, by the way. It was weird.
Good calling. No, that's cool. I'm your brother in Christ, man. But I'm sorry for calling in so many times and bothering you. I actually got on another call and I spoke out of turn. I didn't realize that there was someone else on because of the delay over the internet.
I know. I'm doing it random. I'm just kind of bringing people on as I'm like somebody else is waiting right now. I'm just been kind of doing that. It seems to be working out. But anyway, go ahead.
All right, yeah. I have some good haunting stories and all kind of supernatural things, and I just want to get through them kind of quick just to kind of get them out there. Some symbolism about the beast system happening in my college.
Go
and
for it,
all
man.
Kinds of stuff. All right, so I guess with the Halloween thing, I'll start with the haunting stories. The first experience I had was similar to the other gentleman who was on about being in the hallway playing in his house and seeing, evil spirits and stuff. And so,
hello.
I was probably about 5 years old, and
keep going.
and I was just playing in my house, and I always go to the hallway, and I'd always see these images. I think they were in my head, but they'd seem so vivid and colorful. And I was never.
How old were you, by the way?
I was about 5 years old, like probably between the ages of 4 and 6. This was happening to me.
Did you hear us talking maybe 20 minutes ago or so about kind of a similar thing around that age?
No,
I believe
why
that.
Actually, it brought that up in my head, because I forgot about that, but now I clearly remember it looking back on it.
Cool. Go ahead, man.
Yeah. So one of the most distinct images that I would see repetitively is actually it looks like a really evil demonic version of Rafiki from The Lion King. Believe it or not. And it was it's like big teeth and just ugly and kind of like dreadlocks, like dreadlocks on it almost. That's kind of interesting. Another guy was talking about that. Right now, you brought that up. And yeah, man, I would see that and it'd be so vivid in my head. I just run to my room, and I jump under the covers and stuff. But that was kind of the first supernatural thing, and that was real small. I could kind of play that off as my imagination or something. I got older. I had a good friend named Doug, and I went to go visit him and stay with him in Ohio for 2 weeks in Little Hocking, Ohio, which is a very small town. There's nothing around. It's in the middle of nowhere, basically. And it's the first night I was there. I flew up there by myself as a little kid, and first night I was there, I was sleeping in a bed that no one ever slept in before. It was a big 8-bedroom house, it was a big house, and it was crazy, I'd have a dream that I was I'd be downstairs and it'd be morning. I'd wake up and I'd look at the clock and it'd be like 6 in the morning. So I'd go back to sleep and then it'd be 12 and then I'd go back to sleep and then it would be like 9 o'clock. And eventually my friend's dad woke me up on the couch and he's like, "Where were you? We were looking for you all night." And it's like 8 in the morning or something. And I was like, "What? You're looking for me all night?" And my friend said that he came to my bedroom after he took a shower to say goodnight to me and I was gone. And, and I don't remember where I was that night. I remember going to sleep or trying to go to sleep in that bed, and yet I woke up on the couch and I had all those crazy dreams. So I don't know if I was sleepwalking or what, but that was really, really creepy,
It's almost like missing time or something.
Exactly. And I just want to keep getting through these. So then the most recent stuff, this is I just had gotten saved maybe for 6 months, 8 months. This is a year or two ago. We were watching this beach house for his family friends that went out of town. And
cool. Where was that at?
In South Florida.
Nice.
Yeah, so we were watching this beach house, and we have a couple girls over, and one of the girls is a friend that I had met working as a server, and, she kind of liked me or whatever. So we invited her and her friends over with a couple of my buddies over, and we all drank and, did, what kids do.
Hold on.
And,
keep going, sorry.
And so this girl was actually really into really dark stuff, man. She was into the death culture and macabre. Or I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but she was into all that stuff. She was a cool girl, but
in what way? How was it showing?
Oh, she would talk about it. She would make films about it. She would watch horror movies and stuff all the time. She would talk about she said that she's into macabre, which is the death culture, and so she'd talk about these crazy women that later I see them on YouTube and dudes like you are exposing all their satanic symbols, and it's just crazy. She was totally into that dark stuff. But anyway, I don't know if she heard that or something.
I want to throw this out at you too, man. Just along those lines, it's really again synchronicity. I was just kind of looking at one of these videos earlier. A video I put up a while back about a girl with so-called, quote unquote, demon eyes or reptilian eyes. Well, this girl, and this is from a few years ago. Her eyes manifested these slits in 3 different videos of hers, okay? And her and I had personal emails between each other. And this girl was telling me that she'd been a model in S&M and all this other kind of stuff. And even showed me some links to some of her old work. So she was really into that. And she believed something was wicked inside of her. So I just wanted to throw that out there, man. But go ahead.
This girl was a dark chick, man. I kind of liked her before I figured all this stuff out. I took her out for a date one time, and she was just too easy. I couldn't even do anything with her. She was just too easy. I was still really young, and the Lord was compelling me to not do anything with her, so I didn't. But later, I had invited her to this get together we were having, and I don't know if what in the world she did there that night. She did something, man. I know she did, because she had it out for me. Because I took her out that one night, and she was really upset that she was making things easy for me and I didn't do anything with her. Of course, she doesn't realize that's the reason why. But anyway, she had it out for me, man, and you know, she left that night. We had a good time drinking. She left at like 5 in the morning or whatever. Me and my buddy are going to sleep. My other friend left, and we're sleeping on the couch in the living room of this house, and like I'm kind of like in a half awake, half sleep kind of mode, and my buddy's on the couch next to me, and then I wake up in the middle of the night. You know, I swear I looked over and I'd see him there, and then all of a sudden he's not there anymore, and I had felt this presence that was right next to me this whole time, and it wasn't him. And I went and I go into another room and I find him there sleeping, and you know, he was like he didn't know what was going on. He was feeling some weird vibes too. And we wake up in the morning, we're cleaning up the house, and I'd walk through this door, and the door had like a latch on the door where it locked, you know, like a sliding latch. And I'd opened the door to throw something in the kitchen, and I tried to go back to the door, and the latch was shut, and my friend was on the other side of the house. You know, he was like 4 different doors and rooms away. Like, he couldn't lock me out of that door, and the thing is completely slid shut. So I had to walk around the kitchen, and I went back to see that door from through the other rooms, and it was completely slid shut. My friend wasn't anywhere near it. Anyway, so now that was really weird, and I went back to this house again, me and my friend, and we spent the night there. Again, I don't know why we're doing this. And we actually watched Shield of the Sun's video, Demons Are Real. You know, we watched like 30 or 40 minutes of it. I don't know if you've seen that video.
Isn't that a great video?
Oh man, it's just out of this world. But we were feeling crazy vibes. You know, and I was rebuking things in the name of Jesus. You know, because we felt like there was like wind in the house, man. Like there was no air conditioning on because the people weren't there, so we weren't going to use their air conditioning. And we just feel like wind in the house, and it was just so weird, man, so weird. So then later we come back another time. And this is when stuff gets really weird, is there was this like dancing penguin thing in the living room, and the thing just started going off, man. It would just start going off by itself and stuff, and it was just the weirdest thing. Like, we'd be in the other room, and it'd start going off by itself, and it was just so creepy.
Weird.
And, yeah, and then there's more with the penguin, and then so then the other time we come back to the house, and we hadn't been there for like a week or 2 weeks, and the penguin is facing the wall, and its top hat is off. Like someone took the top hat off of it. It was just
weird.
like, and then we come back into the room, and the penguin facing us.
That is weird.
No one moved it. It was just totally ridiculous, man. Like, and then
Something's messing with you.
Verify this. Yeah, I can't verify this because I wasn't there. But later, my friend went to check the house by himself. And he said he went in there, and he said there was like a tornado inside the house. He said the curtains in the room, and this is all in the living room, the curtains in the room were on the ceiling, and there was like a whirlwind in the house. And he said he tried to rebuke it in the name of Jesus, and it just started going faster, and he said he just ran out of the house and left.
Wild.
Yeah, wild stuff, man. So, like, I've had some experiences, the haunting stuff, and then I just want to talk about, before I got saved, though. This is before I got saved and right after I got saved. There was these light flashes that would follow me around.
Do you live out in the country or something?
Like, no, I live in the city, and it's like I would just be in my room, like doing some homework or whatever, and from the wall behind me, I'd get a big flash of light, like if someone took a big camera flash from behind me, and there'd be nothing there. I mean, this happened for months. This would happen every day. And it actually even happened to me when I was hanging out with my friend in my room, and there was a huge flash of light in the room for no reason, and it was on the ceiling. And I had like curtains over my window, so it wasn't anything from outside. And there was just a huge flash of light on the ceiling. And we were actually talking about Jesus. I was witnessing to him about Jesus, and this huge flash of light happened on the ceiling, man. I don't know, it's just like supernatural.
How long ago was that?
It's got to be a year or two ago.
Like, will he still acknowledge it? I guess is what I'm getting at.
Oh yeah, actually, let me testimony real quick. After this happened with him, I would witness to him and talk to him. I showed him your videos, I'd show him other people's videos, and get him to think about these truths. And he was one day he was filling up his truck at the gas station, and a random guy came up to him, and he's like, "Hey man, what you doing?" And Steven had that's my friend's name. He was filling up his truck all the way. He just got paid, and before that he would put a couple dollars in at a time, so he had to keep filling up. And so the guy comes over to him and he's like, "Hey, you're filling up your tank. You don't have to stop as much, and you'll save money, and stuff." And those are the exact words Stephen said he was thinking in his head when the guy came up to him. That's what he was doing there.
Yeah.
And then it gets crazier. And earlier that day, Stephen had canceled his health insurance. You know, he lives by himself and stuff. He couldn't afford his health insurance anymore. And so he canceled his health insurance that day, and he went to the gas station. And the guy that came up to him said to him, "And do you have health insurance?" And Stephen's like, "No, I actually just canceled my health insurance." And he said, "Well, I'm here to tell you there's a free health insurance, and his name is Jesus." And
right.
It's just wild, man. Like, he just said everything that Stephen was thinking, and then he brought Jesus into it. And, my friend basically thinks the guy was like an angel. So, ever since then, he's like, I can't not believe in Jesus, So,
That's
he's
good.
the Lord, the Lord worked in his life, it's just really incredible. So, yeah.
No, I like that. I like that, man. I mean, man, that's good stuff. I mean, I don't hear many stories like that are like that blatant, where it could be that we might be actually entertaining angels. You know what I mean? I mean, that takes me back to some old school stuff. Are you familiar with Unsolved Mysteries, that old show?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, wow, you must be a youngin', but that goes back. But that's one of those shows that talks a lot about stories like that, where people encounter people like this who, as it turns out, could possibly have been like angels in human form,
Oh, man, that's nuts, man. Like, I definitely have to look that up.
For sure.
But just to keep going on, just want to get all this crazy stuff out there, just to get information.
Go ahead.
Out.
In fact, I'll just throw this out. We got somebody else is waiting on the line, so I got about 2 more minutes, man, with you, and then I'm going to bounce over to this person waiting for the
no
end. Go ahead. All right, thanks.
Okay. One time, me and my friend were in my backyard, man, and I swear we saw a pterodactyl. Like, there's reports
Cool.
of people seeing pterodactyls on bridges in the Golden Gate Bridge in California.
Thunderbirds, too, yeah.
Yeah, and it was huge. I couldn't even see its head because it was so skinny, but it had a huge, long tail, and it was leathery. So, yeah, we saw that, and I've seen some UFOs and stuff. Real quick, I want to go into my my teachers, man. My teachers at school always devil horning at the board. They're devil horning all the time, man. All my math problems always come out to 666. I'll have homework problems to 666 all the time.
Well,
chemistry problems.
Check this out. You might remember this, but you ever heard of an old TV series called The X-Files?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Of course, right? So the X-Files had a great episode, and it was all about that. Throughout the years of my own research, I found there's a lot of truth, and it reminded me of this old episode of the X-Files about a bunch of teachers involved in a secret satanic cult, all right? And how connected it was, and they sacrificed kids and all this stuff. So, yeah, that's not that far off the mark, I don't think.
Oh, yeah, man, that's crazy. Anyway, the teacher's from Russia and stuff, and she was actually talking about her friend discovered a certain symbol for, a chemical equation or something, and it was like a hexagon, man. It was like a hexagon. And she was like, oh, yeah, he came up with this because in a dream he saw a snake swallowing its tail. And I heard this from the devil horning teacher, and I'm like, this dude's an occult member. I mean, the snake swallowing its tail is an ancient symbol. They use that in the Illuminati and Freemasonry and stuff. And I was not cool with it. No one else in the class noticed, of course. My friend saw a demon cat one time that had supernatural speed. We were riding on a golf course at night. The cat took off. We'd shine the light at it from the headlights, and the cat had no eyes, man. You know how animals' eyes glare back at you? It didn't happen.
Yep.
And just real quick here, there's a Masonic lodge by my school, and it has no windows, man. It's right by a school. It's so creepy.
Yeah, I've seen those too.
A Masonic lodge. And that's about it. And I had a couple other things, but I don't want to take up any more time. I just want to get that crazy stuff out there, man. I appreciate everything you're doing.
Well, thanks, man. It's been nice talking to you, and I hate to have to I'll do more of these in the future, because it's been pretty nice. A lot of y'all are calling, but nice talking to you, man. I'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right, man. Have a great night.
You too. Take it easy. Hey, so somebody has been very quietly waiting. Are you still there?
Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
Who's this?
Hi, name's Greg. I actually wanted to call in and talk about something I thought would be pretty perfect for, next for Halloween.
Well, you, my friend, are going to be my last caller, so let's do it. You got 5 minutes, man. Go for it. Nice to talk to you, by the way. Go ahead.
Nice to talk to you. Well, I experience a phenomenon called sleep paralysis. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it.
Certainly am.
But okay, I experience. Well, a lot of doctors and psychologists say that usually people are supposed to experience it like once in their life. And the odd thing about me is like whenever I'm under like an extreme amount of stress, I'll experience it like, you know, a few times here and there. Like when I was in college, I experienced it like during the one semester when I was full-time. I experienced it like maybe like 3 times throughout the whole semester. And, you know, the odd thing is that it's, you know, it kind of reminded me of, you know, that woman that was talking, I think she was 2 callers back. She was mentioning how, you know, she was in bed and she saw the shadows in the room. And that kind of reminded me that, you know, one of the common things that people experience during sleep paralysis is that they see shadow people. And that's what I see. When I'm experiencing it is, you know, I'll see like, you know, shadow human-like figures out of the corner of my eye when I'm experiencing it. And for any listeners who don't know what sleep paralysis is basically where it's kind of the opposite of sleepwalking. It's where you wake up and your whole body is paralyzed. Your body thinks it's still asleep, but you're actually consciously awake.
Yep, keep going, man. You're doing good.
Yeah, and the odd thing is that, you know, I've experienced it a few times, and I guess to kind of leave this off with kind of a creepy scare for Halloween is like I've never kind of gotten over the fear of it because, you know, people die in their sleep all the time. Like I've had people tell, you know, I read that, you know, it can't kill you, but people die in their sleep all the time for weird reasons. And, you know, that small unconscious thought always kind of keeps me fearful whenever it happens. You know.
Do you think there's any kind of a connection with the sleep paralysis with like the succubi or the incubus or anything like that?
Actually, I think there's actually more of a connection to sleep paralysis and alien abductions, because whenever you hear someone talking, whenever someone describes an abduction story, you'll notice that they always say that their body has been completely paralyzed. And like I said, hallucinations can occur during sleep paralysis. And I think I don't experience it. I've never been in an alien spacecraft, I can tell you that right now. But I would think that it would be unique to other people, you know what I'm saying? Like it would be, some people can experience greater hallucinations. So it's not, I think it might be safe to say that some people could be having a sleep paralysis episode and they're just dreaming that they're in an alien spacecraft.
Wow, that's possible, yeah.
You know, that's kind of something I thought about. And though the other doubt in my mind is, you know, I get it here and there, and I've never been in the alien spacecraft, so it's definitely something I think about.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, it's a very real thing. I mean, there's plenty of research. I had mentioned this earlier that I've been talking to a group of people that they believe that they're helping to deliver abductees from you know, their captors, all right, and they're doing it through their spirituality, through belief in God and Jesus, and it gets heavy, man, like real spiritual warfare stuff. And I've done a lot of videos on the connection with these grays and the fallen angels and all. I'm not the only one. There's a lot of other people that see that too. So, you know, man, it's real, and that's why when anybody, even in the past, have had people write to me emails and messages and whatnot that they feel they've encountered these things. You know, immediately, I'm never one to just discount somebody. I want to kind of believe them at first and then work my way backwards. I do it that way, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's interesting stuff, but I'll tell you that thought that people die in their sleep all the time, that will never make me not be afraid of, you know, being in sleep paralysis. You know, I'm always, and that actually brings up another quick point I want to make is that, you know, that lady also mentioned that, you know, sometimes there are spirits that are hovering over you. And I know some people, when they talk about spirits hovering over them, like they kind of push down on them. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a pressure on them when they're laying in bed. The weird thing about sleep paralysis is, you know, a lot of people say they have trouble breathing. And I forget where I read this, but the reason for that is like, because your body still thinks it's asleep, your autonomic nervous system is still going, so your body is actually regulating your breathing, and you're not consciously breathing. So when you try to consciously breathe, it kind of creates kind of a weird nervous system conflict. You know what I'm saying?
I
and I
do.
guess that could cause the hallucination of
Possibly.
someone putting pressure on you or something like that for a way for your mind to make sense of it. I guess.
Yeah.
That's
hey,
what I've been thinking.
Well, hey, man, I hate to cut you off, but we are, like, right now at the 2-hour mark. So I just wanted to say thank you for being my final caller. It was nice talking to you, man, okay? And take care. And to the rest of you folks, just thanks again. It was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll talk to you next week, all right? Take care. This is KGI.